guest this week needs no introduction. He's Jeff Joniak. He is
And you are?
No one's ever met me before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks
Cassie.
for having me, Cassie.
Good to see you.
We're collaborating.
Strong handshake.
Yeah, you got to go in that way. You were solid. I taught my daughters a long time ago. You got a firm handshake.
All right.
That's
that is
pretty
key
strong,
in business.
though.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was good.
Plenty of practice. What have you learned about the Bears so far? Maybe let's start with Ben
my.
Johnson so far,
Yeah.
as he wrapped up his first offseason. We got to see his coaching style in action on the practice
If this
field.
were a baseball game, he hit grand slam.
Yeah.
He hit a grand slam, and the place is going crazy. You know, a grand slam is one of the biggest things you can do in a sport, right? I feel it was a grand slam. He was absolutely perfect. At the podium, he was great. Mm-hmm. He tells you things. It's not a bunch of coach speak.
Answers the question.
He answers the question. He is very transparent. And you could see the energy on the field. I kept saying to everybody, hey, listen to practice. It sounds different. And it sounds different because there's a lot of correction, there's a lot of coaching, and believe me, it's always that way, but this just happened to sound a little bit different, and it was noticeable. I don't know, was it to you?
No, for sure, and I
Yeah.
think it's what the players asked for last year, wanting to be held accountable,
Sure.
and now seeing it in action. I think it's such a stark difference of plays are called dead as soon as the error happens, and he's in the huddle. He's like, he wants perfection. It's the details inside the details, I think is what Tyreek Stevenson said.
Yeah.
And Cole Kmet said it's the obsession with the details that is very evident on the practice field, and I think that's what the players asked for, and hopefully that means wins in the season.
You know, that sometimes gets over, even from a player perspective, because I think most coaches are like that. It's just presented in a different manner. So their head coaches they are, like you said right there, they're exactly the way you describe. Almost every head coach is the same way, but it's the process. But I kept saying he dotted every I and he crosses every T. And I think that's what he will be as a first-time head coach. You know, people are watching him. What will a first-time head coach be like? And I think we're seeing a guy, he's quite comfortable in who he is. He's super smart. You can see that. He can hit you with a bright smile, and then you can see that stern, sudden change of demeanor. Not unlike me, right? I'm the same way. I can laugh with you, but then, boom, we get real serious, Cassie. But I think the entire coaching staff is somewhat similar. And again, we go back to it. I love the fact that these are not all his best buddies, because that happens often, and often to the detriment of the individual. So I just enjoy seeing and hearing, and what I'm hearing back also from players like you are, whether it's on the mic or off the mic, that, this is a very good coaching staff.
Let's start with the coaching staff and Dennis Allen. How crucial is he going to be to Ben Johnson, just in the fact that he's essentially the head coach of the defense and can take a load off of Ben Johnson while he's working on Caleb Williams and his offense. Dennis Allen can handle all that stuff on the defense.
It's a great resource because it's not just a guy who was a one and done. He's been a multiple-time head coach with a lot of years of experience, very confident guy. The mentality of all three coordinators, Richard Hightower, as we know as well, is very aggressive. And so aggressive, nasty, be physical, be tough, and I want that in my Chicago Bears. All three phases, I think players appreciate that kind of play, to be turned loose, and I think he's going to turn guys loose. It'll be interesting to see what he puts together because, again, much like Ben, it's not the Lions offense here. It's a Bears offense. It's going to be tailor-made, and I believe the same for Dennis Allen. So what we know is he loves playing a lot of press man coverage, so that'll shine on the cornerbacks that they're gonna win some and they're gonna lose some. So, and the safeties are gonna have to be ready if something breaks down at the line of scrimmage. So, and then getting that pass rush going will be key. So the defense has, I believe, 9 returning starters, and they're getting a different style of coaching and a different scheme. And let's see how they play in it, because coaches look at players differently. It's not just, okay, you were this then, you're going to be this now. No, we see something different. Like, take, for example, Daniel Hardy. Okay. Daniel Hardy, trying him at strong side linebacker. Will he be a guy that can do that? That would be a great thing for his career, because I think he's an outstanding pass rusher and a core special teams player. But you were going to mention Kyler Gordon for sure. Kyler Gordon is going to have a lot of responsibility. The nickels always do. But I think Kyler Gordon is certainly, he's one of my players to watch this year. And he did get paid, so he's going to be here a while, and he's going to embrace it. And I think he's an outstanding football player, and I do believe he is or will be soon. He's paid like it, but he's going to be the top nickel in the NFL. He can transition into many different roles, and I love when he blitzes.
I was doing an interview with Javon Dexter, and Tyreek Stevenson made a cameo in it. He was like trying to get in on it and asked a question to Javon. Javon asked a question back. And his goals this year were to, one, be the best teammate he can be. And he said he wants to lead the team in interceptions. And he actually has a tattoo with the number 7.
Okay.
So he called out 7 interceptions that he's going to have.
Right.
Everyone's obviously looking at Tyreek Stevenson, but I also think they're looking at the pairing with him and Al Harris and the way that Al Harris can get the best out of him. And I love the story of him going to Dallas on his top 30 visit. Al Harris saying he was one of the most memorable visits he had because he was truly authentic.
Yeah.
And then
that is Tyreek, for sure.
And we loved him for that. But watching Al Harris being very hands-on, I feel like, with the secondary of, hey, like, I want your body facing this way when you're defending this way. You talked about the press man coverage that we're going to see from the corners. How crucial is Harris going to be to not only Tyreek, but as well as Jalen Johnson, who I know is looking forward to following the receiver,
for sure.
Hopefully.
Well, hopefully they have a big fight for the interception lead between the two of them and get their hands on 13 or 14 combined. That would be something. They'd be going to the Pro Bowl, and the Bears would be, in
the playoffs.
Maybe. If that's happening on the defensive side of the ball, because frankly, the defense hasn't had too often of times here in the last several years that they've been playing on the lead. So a defense plays different when they're on the lead. They're a little more aggressive with the pass rush. They can be a little more aggressive going after the football. Listen, I love the veterans, but I love the veteran coaches that played the game. So you got Antoine Randall, you mentioned Al Harris, you got JT Barrett, who's a former player as well. Listen, Al Harris has a great track record. He's done everything that you could possibly do, being undrafted, being cut, waived, traded, becoming an All-Pro. He's been on many different teams as a coach, starting small, and now he's got a big job here with the Bears. I've been labeling him in my mind, just watching him coach, stoic but stern. You don't hear him that much, but you see him taking notes on every single play. I don't know what he's writing down yet. I haven't got to talk to him about that stuff yet, but I think there's instant respect for a player of his magnitude because he was one tough player. Now let's call it what it is. Very aggressive, and I just love his track record. Everybody he touched turns to gold.
We've gone this long and haven't talked about Caleb Williams.
That's been happening on podcasts.
Really?
For me, our Bears Etc. podcast, wherever you may get your podcasts. Or speaking engagements. I speak to different groups when they come to Hallis Hall to watch practice, partners or whatever, sponsors. And, I'm going on and on about things, and I'm like, wow, haven't even brought up Caleb.
Why is that?
Why do you think? I mean, it's a rhetorical question.
I think it's because we're seeing Ben Johnson and the way that he's changed the attitude of this entire team. So, it's starting big, and then maybe we get to the microscope of it being the quarterback. And also the fact that they added the nitty-gritty pieces of the offensive line.
Right.
And so Caleb is a product of all of that at this point.
Yeah, let's not kid ourselves, though. The spotlight will be
on. It will be, week 1, especially when you're playing J.J. McCarthy in the Vikings.
But at first practice, when the media starts charting throws, and that drives me nuts, but I know they do it. Yeah, especially in the offseason.
No, now it's like little bits and pieces, but training camp's different.
Yeah, training camp's different. You got to execute, but you're still getting comfortable. You're trying to, and this is a new scheme again. So it is a great point, though. We know it's coming. We know the attention will be there, but it is interesting. I think again, I said this last year, and now we have more dudes. There are some dudes, certainly on the offensive line. The addition of Grady Jarrett, obviously, and let's not forget the rookies. That these guys are high-profile rookies. But the attention definitely will be on Caleb. It'll be interesting to watch the footwork transition, how comfortable he is. Will he revert into what he's used to in times of pressure, because that's what happens to us all. We go back to what we know, even maybe we weren't coached that way. That's your comfort zone. So hopefully, and I do believe there's so many excellent coaches around him here with JT Barrett and Press Taylor, and certainly Coach Johnson, among others. I think it'll be a good transition. The mistakes, again, whatever are made behind the scenes or in the classroom, around the field, they'll be corrected. And I think the world is his oyster here.
Hard for fans and us not to see tight end Colston Loveland first-round pick this past year on the practice field as he's coming back from shoulder surgery. Sounds like he's hoping and preparing to be good to go for training camp. But from what you've learned about talking to him and people in this building, what have you heard about what he can be to Caleb Williams' offense and team?
First of all, he's a great kid. Interviewed him one time, and he impresses you. He's a mature kid. He's a Michigan man. I know it's not a U of I grad or a Golden Domer like Tommy Thayer and Cole Kmet, but very impressive. I know people that are at that university that could not stop talking about him. So he has every tool in the shed to be a great player, reflective of being the 10th pick in the NFL draft. But they're different players, Cole and Colston. It'll be interesting how I refer to both of them on the field when they're both there, because Colston does go by Cole also.
He does.
He does. That's why I asked him. I said, hey, what am I going to call you, you know? So I think we're going to have to stick with the Colston when we're calling the play. But he is big, strong, tough, fast, but he's an outstanding route runner. So at the top of his route, he's able to break off a route almost like a wide receiver. So that's going to threaten DBs, linebackers, nickels who have to deal with that. But then you got a guy like Cole Kmet, who's also an outstanding route runner and rugged as the day is long. And when the ball's in his hands, I think he's underrated in that category. He fights for every inch, and he's going to hurt some people. So what's going to happen is when you go to 12 personnel, the 2 tight ends, 1 running back, it's going to put the defense in real conflict, which is what an offensive coordinator and play caller is trying to do every play, is win matchups, exploit matchups. And it's going to be fun to watch how they defend these guys. And they're going to kind of declare what they're going to do, and then the Bears will be able to make a play off of that. So you're going to see the run game, especially if play action coming from center, which makes a big difference, will impact that performance of the 2 tight ends. So I think it's really going to open up the field, every blade of grass.
We don't know the status of Braxton Jones and if he's going to be ready coming off of ankle surgery come training camp. What's impressed you about Ozzie Trapillo?
Just him. Again, another guy who sits there and lights up a room with a smile. But on game day, he's going to be a nasty player. He's a Boston College kid. That's he's from Boston. I mean, these guys are tough. They're tough as nails. So that'll be the story of training camp, in my opinion. I don't think it's a big reach to say that. Who wins the left tackle job out of those 3 players? And yes, we don't know yet about Braxton Jones, and that'll garner a lot of attention. So you got 4/5 of the offensive line seemingly set to go, which is a great, big, giant step in the right direction, given what has transpired in the last several years. Continuity was king in Detroit. They led the league in the starting 5 offensive line playing the most snaps, 80% of the snaps. The next team was like at 55%. So the entire 31 other NFL teams had a hard time. We certainly know how much trouble that was for the Bears. So if they can get that continuity going as early in camp as possible, I think that will serve everybody well. But it will be a competition.
I agree. And Ben Johnson said the best pass protector will win that job.
Yeah.
It's the most important job of that left tackle is protecting the blind side. Frank Ragnow retires in Detroit, and it's like, how does this division end up shaking out, do you think? Because that changes a lot. Not only you're losing him, but Detroit loses their 2 coordinators. I feel like there's still a ton of questions of, is suddenly Minnesota the best team in the division? But they have a quarterback playing in his first year as well.
These are great questions. It's funny how you start at center. Right? Here's another interesting nugget. All 4 teams have a new starting center this year.
Wow.
So that pivot is very important for obviously they got to think and see the game the same way as the quarterback and the head coach, in this case, play caller as well. So, that's a great place to start, because if you don't have a solid to very good center, things could get a little rough for you. That pocket starts to press inside the quarterback, and if they're not a bright player, they're not calling out protections, we got a guy that's going to be able to help take a lot off the plate of the quarterback. The experience, still a young player, with the addition of the 2 guards, that's going to serve us well. But as far as the division is concerned, there's no question in my mind, and I know there'll be some arguments out there around, but it's the most difficult division of football. It's the toughest, because the Bears, listen, whatever happened last year, to me, was a little maybe more leaning on the fluky side. It was a little fluky what happened. So this is a tough football team. There's a lot of tough football players on this team. They're going to be coached in a certain way. I think they're going to be trouble for a lot. It's not going to be simple. The division, they all feel the same way, that they are a tough and tumble type of football team. So all 4 teams. And They have great coaches in all 4 teams. I can't call it. I don't know how it's going to go, but last year I said after week 11 the season was going to get started because there's so many division games. In this case, again, because of how they line up, and I don't have it memorized, so don't ask me, but I do feel again, after week 11 we're gonna find out. So you got to really make hay early in the season.
Yep.
The Bears are going to surprise some teams because they don't know what they're going to be looking like. But J.J. McCarthy in his hometown, as a Bears fan growing up, Nazareth High School grad, shout out Naz, and Michigan, Bears liked him too. It's going to be a heck of an opener. And it's always the great unknown in week 1, but I really don't know who to say is the top contender for the division title because we haven't touched on the Packers, but all 4 teams loaded up on the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball. When I say loaded up, in mass, I think 14 to 16 players. That's a lot. So everybody knows, okay, everybody's going to want to run the ball. Everybody's going to want to get nasty up front and make sure they shake the quarterback's tree. So I don't know. It's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a really fun, exciting year.
Illinois quarterback Luke Altmyer, first off, welcome to Chicago. We were just talking about you coming up to Wrigley and getting the full experience. What's it like to be up a couple hours north of Champaign?
Yeah, as a kid, never thought I'd be here at all, but it's a blessing. This is the mecca of pro sports in all the world. So to be here for this moment, this time is pretty cool.
Okay,
I don't take for granted.
It's a baseball field because you grew up in Starkville. So were you a Duty Noble fan?
Oh yeah,
That's
every
a cool
weekend.
atmosphere.
It's the best in college baseball. I can't even lie, but yeah, I grew up a big baseball fan in general. I played ball, so I was right there in the backyard of Duty Noble. So I went there a good bit. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Bielema said that he gave you a call saying you need some help singing the 7th inning stretch.
Yeah.
You ready for that?
We'll figure it out.
Do you get nervous in front of big crowds?
No, I mean I used to, but I've had some practice, so we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out on the fly.
All right, love that. You are coming back for another season, your 3rd year at Illinois. What went into the decision to stick in Champaign?
A lot. There's a lot going on in this day and age with the NCAA and college football, so a lot had to be thought into it, and a lot was put into it, but I knew it was the right decision to be in Illinois because the people I was around, the momentum that we had as a program going forward and what we could create in 2025, there was no reason for me to pick up and leave and to do something else. I was doing something really cool here with the team, my teammates, the community, the fans, and doing something I've always dreamed of, is be a power 4-5 quarterback, whatever it is, man. And I believe that we can do it all here. I really do. We win a lot of games and win the big ones. So excited, had everything put in place here. There's no reason to pick up and go somewhere else. So
also
cool.
helps when you have like 20 plus starters returning from last year.
For sure.
For you personally, just going from when you first came in your first year and then you make a huge jump in year 2, what did that do to your confidence now heading into a year where you feel comfortable with the program and where you're at your point in your career?
Yeah, a whole lot. In 2023, there was still some doubt if I really belonged at this level, if I could do it. And I learned the hard way that I had to really get myself off the mat, and to really pick myself back up, and did that in 2024 and understood that I really belong, I'm really gifted, and I could really do this thing. So certainly to do it, to play 13 games and to win a lot of those, and to do it with all my teammates coming back gives me all the confidence in the world. So I'm excited, I really am.
You said you had to pick yourself up off the mat. You obviously hear the outside chatter at that point heading into last season.
Yeah.
Who else did you lean on during that time?
Yeah, the people who love me most, my family, my brothers, my 2 parents, my grandparents, my closest friends who've known me forever, who just want the best for me, who love me, and the people in the community in Champaign who really who are really wise. My coaches, my pastors, psychologists, I exhausted all resources to be able to be my best self in 2024, and that's not changing because I know it works, and that's a never-ending battle because it's so easy to get off the straight and narrow path, and I try to walk that every single day.
Bret Bielema, what's it like to be coached by that guy? We all see him and hear him like in the media and stuff on Twitter. I don't know if you pay attention to his tweets that he sends out. He's kind of a firecracker.
Sure.
On there.
It's super fun. It's he brings it all to the table: consistency, love, football IQ, and just pure human competitiveness. He brings it all, and he's been in the business for so long, and has been super successful wherever he's been. So it's so easy to trust him for his track record, but his consistency and his love and his care and the unity that he brings to the table every single day is put on display every day. Consistency is is his deal, and the way he communicates, he brings it all, and we never fail to see that. So something I'm blessed to play for him. I really am.
You come off a 10-win season, you win the Citrus Bowl. What are the expectations inside that locker room for this year?
Yeah, we just want to be our best selves every single day, to go be our best on the Saturdays that are in front of us. So the expectation is to win, whether it's the opportunity that's given today, or the Week 12 opportunity in November, or postseason in January. We want to win, and we believe we can. So we walk into everything that we do, expecting to win. We know we're gifted, so to be the best and to be at the top of the mountain in college football is our expectation, I guess, and that's what we walk into every single day believing.
Perfect. ILL?
INI.
Love that. We are joined now by Illini head coach Bret Bielema. Welcome to Wrigleyville. Getting ready for the 7th inning stretch.
Yeah, I'm going to warm up the pipes. I'm going to do it with Luke Altmyer.
Yeah, how's Luke as a singer? Do we know?
I don't know that. I'm betting on to come. I didn't know which one I was going to go. I didn't know if he'd agree to it, but I think it'd be pretty cool.
He said he wasn't nervous. He's like, I prepared for this moment. I don't get nervous anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't really rattle him. I did share with him, though. I've done this. This is my 5th time. When all those people stand up and look, like there's a little bit of a moment that's different.
I was talking to Luke earlier today, and he mentioned just hearing all the noise that came with him entering his season last year, and how he was able to overcome all of that, really dig deep and lift himself off the floor doing that. Now being confident going into his 3rd season at Illinois, what does it mean to this program to get him back?
You know, I think 2 things. At first, it didn't come by chance. He was very deliberate, intentional. I think a lot of people around him supported him to get him where he is, and then the biggest thing is he prepared for that moment, right? He went out, he worked really hard. He worked on the things we talked about to make him a different player, and then in the clutchest moments, he played very, very well, right? So it's fun to watch that development and see how it goes.
How much easier is your job when you have 20-plus starters returning? I mean, that doesn't happen anymore in college football.
I think right after the game, we started to make sure we could retain all of them. Give a lot of credit to our AD, Josh Whitman, gave us a lot of resources to make that happen. And then bottom line, the atmosphere in the field in our building is really good, and I think those kids know not only what we've done, but what we can do for them, and I think that ends up helping out a lot. You're coming off a 10-win season. You win your bowl game. I was telling Brad, I said, when I was at Illinois, we weren't a football school, we weren't a basketball school, we were a golf school. To see the turnout, the support, how you have been part of the turnaround at Illinois, what does that mean to you? Well, it's been huge because Brad was ahead of us and did a great job and got that feeling, and then I've really used him as a catalyst for what we've done, and he's been awesome to work with us. Now Shona as well, our women's basketball program. I think we're one of the few schools in the country, both NCAA tournament, men's and women's basketball, and a bowl team that won. So a lot of really good pride, and it is great for alum to be able to wear those T-shirts and hats with a little bit of pride. What should expectations be for this season for fans? I'm excited for this group. I think they're a hungry group. They'll attack Western Illinois, that opener, just like they're going to attack Northwestern at the end of the year. I think our kids know they earn everything they get, and it's a really fun group to be around. I think there's a lot of excitement. They're good kids, and hopefully everybody else will see that. Finally, you signed the extension. What do you love about Champaign? Like, it's obviously become your home with your family and everything. Yeah, it's fun. I got 2 small daughters who literally they'll go to Spirit Day and they're wearing Illinois gear head to toe, and just to see their reactions. And my daughters are now beginning to understand it, and they get it. They understand who they are and what they are. And to partner it with this guy who's having a beer already, which I appreciate. Oh, he's jealous. Maybe a little toast or something. Bret Bielema, good luck today with the 7th inning stretch. We'll be listening and watching, and ILL. INI. The Offseason is now available on Spotify, Odyssey, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. We'll see you next week right here on The Offseason.